pulp, otherwise it wouldn't be juice. It does still leave some pulp behind, and so I like to just strain these with like a sieve like this, just so they're nice and smooth. So I'm going to do that now. I just catch it in this big bowl like this. I'll kind of show you. You can't really see much, but there's like just a little bit of it. Almost looks like an applesauce consistency that comes out. And I like this bowl set because you can kind of just nest everything together like that, so it'll catch anything from dripping. This up one more time. This one's almost done. After real quick, just finish just an apple society is laughing and could actually make it. Another way to do this, we can see it out of that center view. Okay. And a small difference too with the center page boosters. I don't know if you can see it like just the amount of foam that it created. But it is going to be more foamy again because it's just rotated so quickly, kind of lifts everything up. People else is just a little bit. But if you can cover on this section has a foam picture on it, so it's not too much problem. So bring this in here. And you can see it kind of just left all the foam behind like that. Sometimes you'll have to swirl this just a little bit to get all the juice to come out, and then you'll leave, like I said, the pulp behind. Hot. So we'll finish as well. So as you can see, that maybe took about what, like 10-15 minutes. And now the juice is finished. So you'll just kind of finish straining everything. And you can also just strain this straight into a pitcher, like I have here, like if you're going to be using it to pour into your jars, but just kind of the way that my pitcher is, it's kind of like, I feel like I would make a mess if I tried to like put this on top of here and it would be like spilling everywhere. So that's why I like to use a bigger bowl for it. But now that this is all done, like I said, this makes about 1 gallon of juice. And so if you're using, and I'll show you in a second when I can get over there, but if you're using the 32-ounce, which are quart size jars, it makes about 4 of those. So I'm just going to swirl this a little bit, get all the pulp out. Now you can see I have this nice big bowl of juice. And so what you can do is, I would normally either just like pour this directly into the pitcher, but I'm obviously not going to do that because it's probably going to make a mess. Like I'd probably have the pitcher in the sink and like pour it in there. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm actually just going to, since we're going to do some samples, I'm actually just going to use like a measuring cup. Like you can use one with a handle like this and kind of just scoop it like this. Pour it in. Yeah, if you guys want to come help yourselves to some samples here. There you go. Yeah, it does have a little bit of ginger, yeah. I try not to make it too heavy because it can definitely be pretty overpowering. So you want to avoid that. Mhm. Yeah. Mhm.
This feels really good.
You like it?
Tastes really good.
Awesome. So yeah, like I said, it takes about 15 minutes, and then depending on how much juice you drink per day, I would drink I would drink one, like just like on a daily basis, one of these 32-ounce jars a day. And so that's good. This is going to make enough to fill 4 of these. So that means I would just have to make 2 gallons of juice every week, every time that I juice. Or if you're like Russell, he doesn't drink as much as me. He only drinks about half of one of these. This would actually be enough for him for the whole week. So he only needs about 1 gallon for a week. So yeah, that's kind of the demonstration. If anybody has questions, I can answer them, or we can jump back into the presentation.
This is good. Really,
Yeah,
it's really good.
good.
I would never eat these amount of vegetables.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
You just can't get this many vegetables and fruit in them.
And you don't want to eat them. Like, I don't even really like celery like that personally. So I wouldn't just eat it raw, you know?
Well, it's really good. I mean, it's doable.
Good.
When you talked about the difference in the juicers, right? What are the, you know, the prices of each one or about?
Yeah, so the cheapest you're gonna find for this type is anywhere around like $40, and it can go all the way up to, if they make nicer models, these probably run for about 300. And then for the slow juicers, the cheapest one you're probably gonna find is around $100, and then they can go upwards of, like this one itself, I think this one's like 600. So yeah, pretty big price ranges, but these are always gonna be cheaper than the slow juicers.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so you drink one of these a day,
Mhm.
right? And then you just sort of monitor what you eat the rest of the day.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Mhm. Like I do like smoothies in the morning, and just basically try to eat as many fruits and vegetables as humanly possible all day. It's kind of the best thing you want to do there.
But
Um,
when you're doing your cleanse, you're drinking 3 of those
Right.
jars a day.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
That's
And I'll
what
get
I-
into that. Yeah, I have a slide about that
Oh,
that talks about fasting. Yeah, so we can get back into the presentation now. This. Okay. So yeah, that was kind of an example of recipes. And I just talked about this a little bit, but this is just kind of my weekly juicing routine. I just wanted to share this just to, you know, again, kind of let everybody know how doable it really is, because I think a lot of times when people think about juicing, they say, oh, that's just way too much work. You know, it's way too much cleanup, just whatever. I have to buy all the fruits and vegetables. But it can be very doable if you kind of have a routine for it. I have like some little hacks too. So on Fridays, what I'll do is I'll actually order all of my produce online, and a lot of, like, you know, stores now like Food Lion or Walmart or Harris Teeter, pretty much any grocery store you can think of, they actually do grocery pickup. And it's usually either free to do it, depending on how much money you spend, or, you know, like the biggest fee I'll pay at Food Lion for doing the pickup is $2. And so that's what I've done pretty much for all of Miss Pat's Fast. Pretty much, like, you know, whenever I juice for myself, I'll just order everything online. You literally drive to the store, park in the parking space. They come out to the car, put the groceries in your trunk. Like, you really don't have to do anything. So it's just super convenient. And then so, like, you know, I'll place the order on Friday night, and then on Saturday, I'll actually go pick it up and just like put everything away, because I don't really like having to do the shopping and the juicing on the same day. So I kind of like to break it up. But it's just like a preference thing. And then on Sunday, like I said, I'll just juice for the entire week. So because I do 32 ounces a day, I need about 2 gallons. And that can take anywhere from about an hour and a half to 2 hours, just depending on, again, like the complexity of the produce that I chose that week. And also just like including like cleanup and things like that too. And because juices only really last about 72 hours in the refrigerator, if you are going to juice for more than 3 days, you want to put about half of them in the freezer. And in order to freeze them, you just want to make sure, obviously, like, you have some space, because as you know, like when liquid expands, you know, you don't want your jars to break. So I would normally fill them like about here, like to this line, like right where the jar starts to curve. And I haven't had any problems freezing them that way. So I'll just put half of them in the freezer. And then, yeah, Monday through Thursday, I just have juice for the entire week. And like I said, I'll thaw out the frozen ones, like maybe like around Wednesday when it's been about 3 days. And the way that I thaw them out is I basically just like will take them and just put them either in like a pot, or I'll just fill the sink with like some room temperature water and just stick them in there. They thaw out in about an hour, so it's pretty quick. So yeah, I just hope that makes you like helps you see that it can be very doable if you kind of just have a routine. And you batch it all at the beginning of the week, so you're not having to do it every single day or anything. So now we can talk a little bit about fasting. I know fasting seems intimidating for sure. Like most people don't want to think about, not eating and being on the juice only. But essentially what fasting is you do nothing but juice. And I usually recommend that you do at least 7 days minimum. I know some people like to say, oh, I'll do a 3-day fast or a 4-day fast. But I'll be honest with you, that's just not really enough time to get the benefits. Like I have to be completely honest, usually like on days 3 and 4, that's when you're still experiencing like a lot of detox symptoms and feeling kind of blah, like as your body is adjusting to the juice. And again, like when you're juicing, you're just detoxifying like a lot of stored up toxins and things like that. So yeah, 7 days minimum is usually what I recommend for that. And yeah, you'd be drinking 3 of these 32-ounce juices. Basically, like essentially this would be your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Or you can drink more if you want to. Like you could really just drink as much as you want. Like you just never want to be hungry on a juice fast. And so, yeah, like these are kind of some of the ways to tell if fasting might be right for you. One would be if you definitely need to lose like a pretty good amount of weight. So anywhere from 15 to 30 pounds. Again, 3 days, 4 days is not going to be enough for you to lose that much weight. As much as it would be nice. Like, again, you lose about 1 pound per day if you're an overweight individual. So, you're going to want to do anywhere from 14 to 28 days if you need to lose this amount of weight. As I mentioned before, if you struggle with any kind of chronic condition, such as asthma, diabetes, digestive disorders like Crohn's, IBS, or ulcerative colitis, skin conditions, inflammatory diseases, and things like that, like they can all significantly be helped by juicing. And it's because if you think about it, the root of all chronic diseases is typically having too many toxins in the body and then also just lack of nutrition in general. And so juice fasting takes care of both of those things. It removes the toxins and it just floods your body with the nutrients. So usually you just get better on your own. And then of course, also if you want to eat healthier, but you just struggle about getting excited about healthy food, like, you love junk food, you love pizza and burgers and all that kind of stuff. A juice fast will kind of like retrain your taste buds to where you get excited to eat the healthy food again. And so I just have to say you won't be hungry. Like I know it seems like you're going to be starving and everything like that, but you won't. The biggest thing that you'll have is cravings and like I said, some detox symptoms, but you won't be hungry. Like you'll be drinking as much juice as you want. You'll be feeling full. So don't be terrified, like don't be intimidated by that part of it. It's really not as bad as it sounds. And I just want to wrap up with like sharing a couple of my favorite juicing documentaries that really got me into juicing. And like, they're just incredible stories of people who have done juice fasts. And so the first one is called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. And this one is about 2 different men. They were both just severely overweight. Like they both weighed, I think, either about 300 or 400 pounds. And they both had like this terrible chronic condition where they would get like hives and rashes all over their bodies. And so they both did 60-day fasts, pretty long for sure. But, they were able to lose a ton of weight, get off all their medication. And then another woman is also featured in the movie. She only does a 10-day fast, but she's able to get rid of chronic migraines that she just had for years and years and years. And so it's just really incredible, even just like what a little bit of nutrition and fasting can do for you. And then the second one is called Super Juice Me. And so this one is about, it's basically like an experiment. And so like, the guy invites, 8 different people that, he puts out the call to say, hey, if you want to participate in this experiment, you're just going to be fasting for 28 days. And so the 8 people in the film all have like, I think it's like 22 different diseases between them. Just some of the classic ones like asthma, diabetes, lupus, etc. And again, just amazing results. They're able to get off their medication, lose weight, just feel amazing. And it really does change their lives, for the better. So I have the links here and I'll send out like the presentation so you can click on the links, but these are both free on YouTube. And I also just wanted to quickly show the previews of them just because I thought it'd be like super interesting to see. So I have the previews queued up here. So I figured we could just watch those. This one's.
I deal with chronic pain on a daily basis. I have numerous problems. One, I have ulcerative colitis.
Crohn's disease, just throughout my digestive system. It's a very, very difficult thing to live with.
My problems are weight, as you can see.
There's no question in my mind that we're not winning the war on chronic disease.
All of this stuff is clearly not natural and shouldn't be happening to a 26-year-old.
They're drugging them and drugging them and drugging them, and the drugs have side effects.
The properly prescribed use of medicine is the third leading cause of death in this country.
If you haven't looked just here, these are some of the medications I take.
These lifelong medications cause lifelong side effects or adverse events in millions and millions of people.
I need to do this for my health, for my children.
We're at a crisis point, and if something doesn't change, all of these diseases are going to continue to escalate.
I can say honestly, I have not felt well for 25 years. But if I don't start putting myself first, there isn't going to be a me to help others.
Do we really need to be spending trillions of dollars every single year on healthcare medicine? Or is it possible that the answer to the current global chronic healthcare crisis is as simple as what's in this glass?
I don't know what it is to feel good.
If you took the medication out of that equation, I could live a normal life.
I don't want to be on all these drugs. They don't do anything for the disease, they just mask the problem.
I'm kind of scared of a whole month. I'm not someone who usually has that type of drive.
Today is going to be my rebirth.
So that's the trailer for Super Juice Me. Like I said, it's a fantastic movie. I've seen it, I think, like 10 times. I'm not even exaggerating. I just love it so much. But we don't have to watch the one Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. I think that kind of gets the point across of just how incredible the documentaries are. So yeah, that kind of wraps it up for what I had today. I'll of course open the floor just if anybody has questions on anything.
Yeah, I have a couple. So I juiced a few times. Well, I attempted to anyway. Probably about 3 times when I try. I do get really, really sick. The first couple of days, really sick, vomiting and everything. Yeah. So I had a fear of actually going back to it because of those reasons. I did read an article, couple of blogs that state when you do get sick, instead of just juicing, maybe kind of take the whole fruit and just kind of eat it that way whole. That'll help you, full. I don't really eat fruits, vegetables too much, but I do find my way into the honeydew now, the mangoes. So I eat that quite often actually now. And it does help. It definitely helped my skin. I was breaking out a whole lot last year. And now that I eat the mangoes and the honeydew quite often, it has been clearing up my face. Juicing, once again, I'm still scared of because I had this trauma going on in me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's totally understandable. I mean, yeah, for sure. Even if you can just eat it, that's great too. I think any way that you can get into your body, I think what, like I was mentioning, appeals to a lot of people about juicing is you can get just the stuff that you don't really like eating. Cause we all know that broccoli is good for you and all these other vegetables. We don't necessarily want to eat raw broccoli. But I mean, if I had to guess, I would say that probably what you were experiencing was some detox symptoms. Because again, when you start doing the juice and you really start cleansing and flushing out your cells, the juice immediately starts flushing out all the toxins out of your cells, you can experience sickness and illness and things like that. So even when I did my 30-day juice fast, I think like the first couple of days, I wasn't vomiting or anything like that, but I was just feeling super run down. Like I had a headache. I just didn't feel good at all. I just felt terrible. But I knew to expect that because I knew the detox symptoms were going to be part of the process. And so there are a couple of things you can do to help with that. One big thing is exercise. Like exercise is great for kind of helping like move along the toxins and, you're sweating and kind of like getting things out. So that really helps. And then another thing that helps too is actually taking like magnesium or like Epsom salt because it makes you go to the bathroom, which, of course, when you go to the bathroom, things are getting eliminated and flushed out. So that's what I usually recommend to people if they're afraid of experiencing the detox symptoms, just doing those type of things to kind of manage it.
Okay.
Yeah, great question. So people think that juicing is really super expensive, which it can be depending on what kind of stuff that you buy. And so if you're buying, you know, fancy produce like dragon fruits and, you know, things like that, then yeah, it is going to be pretty pricey to make like a big cup of that or a big gallon of that. But honestly, this juice right here that I made, just, you know, getting these ingredients from Food Lion, if you were doing a juice fast on this, it'd be about like $15 a day. Like all those ingredients, yeah, it costed $15. So, you know, if you were also just spreading it out through the week, it would be like $15 a week, which really isn't much. Of course, if you do organic, this actually wasn't organic today, but if you do organic, that's going to be a little bit more pricey. So you're probably looking at maybe like $30 for this if it was organic. But you have options. And then of course too, like I've seen people do like juice fast for like $5 a day, because they'll do like, you know, watermelons or things that like produce a lot of juice, like really juicy fruits. And so you can easily get a gallon out of a watermelon, much easier than get it out of like spinach, for example. So you don't have to buy as much of it. But yeah, I would say about an average of $15 per gallon of juice is about right.
Well, let's give Alyssa a great big hand clap.
Yay! Thank you.
Ciao.
And yeah, if of course, if anybody has any questions or just, you know, wants recipes or wants to talk further, I'm happy to give you my information. I love talking about this stuff. So yeah, just let me know.
Do you juice for people? Do you do it inside? Just, you know.
I do it in rare cases. I'll admit I don't do it super often. Kind of really more what I specialize in is teaching people how to do it themselves, like kind of getting them on the path. But if it's just a really rare case, then yeah, sometimes I will make, like I did make the juices for Miss Pat for her fast. So, yep.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to say thank you to Alyssa.
Thank you.
Wait a minute, let me come over there.
Okay. Yeah, it's on mute.
We want to say thank you to Alyssa. You've done a fabulous job. Thank you so much for the health component of this lesson for today. The second part of our lessons for today, we will do it in November when we can all come together face to face. But we're going to be making our am jars and our 10 power scriptures. And so we'll talk more about that at our next meeting. But again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. And I hope you have a wonderful, fabulous week. And we'll see each other again soon. Thanks. Bye. Yep. All right.